J Moore, the very best reviews. Tell them none can contest, we gon'
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another Real Talk Tuesday. I'm here with the lovely Kelly Lee. How you doing?
Hey, Jay. How are you? I'm fine.
Oh, that's good to hear. You're looking lovely as always.
Thank you, Jay.
Oh, no problem. No problem. Glad to have you.
Today. I'm pinky today. I'm matching with my J Moore merch.
Ah, snap. Man, I'm blushing over here. My cheeks going to be pinky over here in a second. Well, I'm glad.
My cup too, Jay.
Definitely. All right. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Glad to have you back another week. And we got a couple things to talk about. Today was a hell of a day, also with the shooting in Houston. So definitely want to say, my moment of condolences to all those people out there. And
absolutely.
Hopefully this country can figure out a way to come together on some of these issues that really matter
to protect our kids.
Yeah, because everybody focusing on issues that are not to say they're not important, but they don't focus, they don't really affect, rather, I should say, as many people as what they've been doing. So, hopefully we can all get that important things together. So talking with today, we got a few topics to talk about, but one of the main topics tonight is saving yourself for marriage. Could that work in today's world? Now, I got a video about what this man actually said about that. I'll play this video and then we'll talk about a person, a man or a woman, saving themselves for marriage. And what is that? Could that work? Is that a good idea? Is that old? What? All right, here's the video. Let's see what he say.
Okay.
Understand that I was the one who said I wanted to wait for marriage. And the reason that I told her that I wanted to wait for marriage was, number one, I felt like whenever I did things the way God said to do it, it always turned out better for me than I ever would have thought. Number two is really intentionality. I understand that in choosing a wife, you're choosing a lifelong partner, but you're also choosing the mother of your child, and you're also choosing the person who will be the biggest influence in your life. Like, this person will influence so much in what you do that it's important that you are intentional when finding this person. And number three was I wanted to have a certain level of sobriety when looking for the woman I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. I didn't want to be intoxicated by anything physical. That cliche, the cherry on top, rings so true. Basically what it's saying is that I will still eat my sundae even if there's no cherry, but just adding that cherry will make it even better. But there are so many people out here who, if that cherry isn't a part of the main ingredient of their sundae, they can't eat it. And I never wanted my marriage to be like that.
Okay.
A lot of people don't understand that I was the one who said I wanted to wait for marriage.
All right. So what this dude is saying, basically, to sum it up, is that he wanted to make a very conscious decision with being with the woman that he wanted to be with. He had 3 criteria, and he didn't want how good the sex was or could be to be part of the criteria. And he wanted to have a sober decision when he chose this woman to be with, because he didn't want to have somebody who just had a big booty or boobies, and that's what he was all attracted to because they're sex, and then come to find out they weren't really compatible. And so he said he wanted to wait because he felt that was in touch with what God say in his spirituality. And we don't know if he did find a mate or if it worked. That's one thing that I would like to know with that clip. He did? Okay. Well, that's good. And so I'll let you go. What do you think about this, whether it's a man or a woman? Is that a good idea? Could that work? What do you think in today? Or is that an old way of thinking?
Well, Oh gosh. I think it could work for the folk that want it to work for them, right? At this point in time of my life, it's not going to work for me. I need to figure out a couple of things before, just to make sure. So he said, like the cherry on top. Some people don't want the sundae if the cherry's not on top. Like, it's not that I don't want it. I just want a taste of it. It's not a determining factor, but I just need to know a little bit more now, this phase in my life. I need to make a decision based on everything. Like, some people don't want to live together as well before they get married. I have to do all of that. I have to see certain things because I don't feel like I have the time to explore and don't like and I personally I don't do divorce. I never thought divorce was a good thing. So I just really want to be totally invested so that I could stay in my situation.
Right. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask you this then.
Mm-hmm.
Can a person learn to be a good lover? Can a person say we wait and then when we do get together, it's not good? Can I be taught to be a good lover and please you? Can I learn to get better? Or would a person not be willing to even try to teach that person or go through those steps to help them get better if they are willing to want to? Is that an option?
Yes, it's an option. And I believe it will work if people are honest. If the two people involved are absolutely honest with one another, it can work. But because people hide so much and lie and mislead in that regard, it's so hard. You know what I mean? But if you can be absolutely honest so that when that time comes, you can say, well, this is not working for me in a respectful way, or this is working, that communication is open, then of course you could learn and grow together. But the minute you want to call your friends and say he can't do this or she can't do this and go outside and get, the side job done, that's a recipe for disaster.
Definitely, definitely. And I definitely don't think as adults that we should tell our friends how our significant other performs in the bedroom, whether it's
Right.
good or bad,
Mm-hmm.
because that makes your person that you with look bad, but it also makes you look bad because you are choosing to be with this person. And your
Right.
friends will say, damn, she's stupid. She with this person. They da 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 da. Or damn, she got this. She don't even know what to do with it. Let him get some of
Right.
this. I'm gonna put it on him. You know.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So you never know. Or you telling the dude, your friends, oh, she don't go and give head, or she don't do this or do that, or she don't want to why. Why would you do that? Why are you downing her to your friends? I mean, that's a recipe for disaster to me. I think that's
Right.
childish. And if you have a problem, I'm a person that's very direct and open. People either love it or hate it, but it's no mystery with me. So I'm gonna either say, is it good or not good, or what you want or not want, or what I want or don't want, and either we gonna make it work or not. But I'm not gonna talk about it behind your back or complain to other people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because how would that fix the situation if I'm doing all the complaining to somebody else that doesn't do anything with it?
That's not even in the room with you at that time. Right?
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right. So I don't know about that. Now, shout out to Big Ron. He said I need a test drive on everything. I hear that.
All right,
And
Don Ron.
there we go, Don Ron. I'm not going to say that's wrong. I'm not going to say it's right either. What I would say is that's what works for him.
Right.
And I was 100% thinking that most of my life. Not to say I'm totally away from that,
Mm-hmm.
but like this guy said, he wanted to be with somebody and he didn't want it to be all about the sex. It doesn't really seem realistic in a way, but in another way, it seemed like probably the best option because when you think about it, sex is probably the easiest thing you can work out in a relationship.
If they're honest, Jay, if they're honest,
Right.
because a lot of people just aren't honest about that. I think, to be honest, it's taboo in a sense to say that, I don't like what you're doing, or, what you're doing is not working for me. A
Right.
lot of people run away from saying that. So if, say, for example, him in his situation, he could be honest with that, then it'll work, and his wife could be honest, it'll work in his situation, but it ain't going to work if you're not honest.
Yeah, see, everybody ain't a talker during sex either. I mean, when I was younger, I was quiet and focusing.
But even after, Jay, when you haven't cuddle and pillow talk,
That's
even
true.
after, we have to be able to have some sort of platform for honesty without hurting the other person's feelings or making them feel like they're not doing this. Because I don't think at his age, I'm assuming here that he's never done anything before. He probably was just, exercising that with the woman he wanted to marry. But at the same time, you have to be honest. If you're going into your relationship of abstaining from sex with you and your significant other or soon to be, you have to be honest for that thing to work. If you're not honest, forget about it. I mean, we should be honest, period.
Definitely, communication is fundamental. I definitely am a big communicator. So Ill would say, what if you wait and get married and the sex is trash? To me, sex can only be trash in a couple ways. For a woman, as a man, it only is trash when a woman doesn't want to do things. Other than that, it can't be really trash with a woman because they don't really have nothing to do other than if they decide they don't want to do this or that position, or I'm not going to go down on you or this or that. And if you a man wanted and needed those things, you're going to be unhappy.
Communication, once again, right? Communication, talking about it openly and honestly, and understanding that, nobody's wrong here. We just have to figure out if we connect or if it can work, because trash means that you can't communicate to work it out unless somebody's sick. That's a different story altogether.
They can't help it though.
But then that means to be put on the table. Suppose the woman is, she don't want to deal with that. What have you? Might find somebody who wants to deal with that, and somebody who doesn't. And I don't think it's fair to Jedi somebody into a situation that you can't handle, Jay.
Right.
Not you.
That's true.
You know what I mean.
I know what you mean. I got it. And with a man and a woman, I think a woman has more to complain about with a man that could be possibly hard for them to fix. Like if they too short, and I ain't talking about the rapper, but they coming up shorter than a midge, they got a problem because there's not much they can do about that. Maybe they gonna have to use that tongue way more than they planned on, and if they don't want to do that, then they got a problem because they can't work, they can't do. But if they look like Mr. Chow from The Hangover, they got a problem. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know why. Mr. Chow, we had a sick night, bitches. That's a problem. Or no matter what they do, they can't last long, maybe a minute or less. That's a problem. Although it is pills and things that they can possibly do to probably make that last longer. And the more they do it, then they can probably get maybe desensitized so much. As soon as they touch it, they be like,
hey. But okay, so all of that to me is being honest, right? All of that is being honest with yourself, honest understanding, because it might work for somebody. It might work for somebody. You're never gonna know. So I think
said he was married.
Right. Okay. And the night, some people are what did I heard this the other day? Was it a grower, not a shower? I don't know.
That's true.
Right. But
if they don't grow and they don't show, they in trouble.
Sure, oh Jay. But okay, so let me say this. Like back in the day, right? Especially say in the religious realm, you would force people, and I'm using the word force loosely, but really strict at the same time, to get married because they didn't want premarital sex, right? So they would put you into these situations, and a lot of people got married and were forced to stay in these marriages because of religious confines. It wasn't just because they were waiting. Some of the times it's because they didn't want to wait. They put themselves in these situations, right?
That's why our
So
grandparents got married so fast back in the day.
right. So they were put into these boxes. Now, fortunately we have a lot of more allowances that allow us to be a little bit more free and open to different decisions.
Mm-hmm. You was reading the comment.
Yeah, I was. Sorry.
You ain't gotta read the comments. I'm trying to put it up for other people.
Okay. Yes, but I
Yeah,
do agree that you have to have that level of compatibility, and in addition to communication, understanding. You know what I mean? Because we could talk at each other, but if we don't really understand what we're saying, we're gonna continue to bump heads and then lie and mislead one another because we feel like we can't get through. That's when other
definitely.
people come into the relationship. Your friends, the side thing, the XYZ, ABC. So
Right.
you got to have a relationship where you could communicate, in addition, understand one another. And I think that's what comes into play. So if you want to abstain before marriage, I would hope that you have understanding with that person that y'all need to talk it out when y'all get to that level. Because
Definitely.
a lot of people lie.
That's true. And as you start to like a person, you want to get closer in a godly, biblical way. And you need to
Right.
let people know that it's not that I'm not feeling you, but
Mhm.
this is where I stand on that. Now, I didn't answer this part yet, but would it work in today's day? And so it depends. I think it could, but with me, I would look at it as how much do I care about this person that I'm automatically got to be thinking about marriage now. It makes that relationship more serious in a way because you
Very
now
serious.
know, yeah, we ain't just playing around or enjoying each other's company. It's an end result here that I'm starting with. And if we aren't working towards that, we might as well stop. Now,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it depends on the age I am, the point in life that I'm in, and then also, would I be with her committed without that part of the relationship, sex, or would I still be messing with other people that I knew before I knew her? Because truth is, most people already know somebody or are messing with somebody or have a friend, before they meet somebody. Everybody's already alive and doing things. Very rarely do you meet somebody that has no friend or nothing going on
The
until you
fan
meet them.
club thing.
The fan club, right? Everybody got fan club members.
Mm-hmm.
So would you get with that person and then disband the fan club, or would you keep your fans on the side so that way you don't feel unsatisfied sexually, and
Right.
then get with that person, and then when it's time for marriage and it's serious, now I leave all them alone and now I'm with you? But would she be happy to know that all this time we've been dating and talking, although we didn't have sex, you was having sex with other people?
Right.
Would you consider that cheating if I was with you and say we were together for a year, but we never had sex because you saving yourself for marriage, but I've been sleeping with other people, and I tell you after we get together, I'm not sleeping with nobody else now, only you. How would you feel?
Jay, I wouldn't feel good at all about it. I think it would still be cheating because at that point, it's not like if y'all are friends, you'll still be in a relationship. So, you would still be in a relationship. So that means if we had a conversation saying that we're going to wait till marriage, and I don't know you out there with other women, I wouldn't want to know that you out there with other women. However, I agree in a sense. How realistic is that in this day and age? That I'm going to tell you we're not doing nothing and expect you to be like, okay, cows, cut everything off. And the fan club is calling you 24/7, like, come through, or I'm coming through. No. It's not going to be realistic for me to think that you're not doing something just because I'm saying that I'm not going to do anything before marriage. So that's what goes back to me saying it's all about being honest. If you could be honest, if you could be open, then maybe it could work. Or if you could accept the honesty as well. Because, okay, fine. You don't want, I'm saying I'm not doing nothing, but at the end of the day, that doesn't mean that you have to stop.
Right.
So can you deal with the truth, Jay? Can you deal with the truth?
That's true. Like, so for example, I would want the lady to understand that. But if I was the one holding myself for marriage and she was still sleeping with other guys the whole time, I would have a problem with that. I ain't gonna lie. It's a double standard. I would be pissed. Like, what the fork are you doing? What you mean you still sleeping with this other dude or these other dudes? Like, what?
Right?
And you like, well, shoot, I'm gonna wait for you and I want to be with you and I love you, but still, you ain't giving me what I need, so I'm gonna get with him. Then I will always think, damn, even when we are together, I would maybe probably comparing myself to what you had with this other person all the time. And that would put some doubt in my head a little more about, the fidelity of the relationship. So that is a double standard, and I ain't gonna lie, I would be thinking that and buying into that. So I don't know. That guy that said that, you say he did find a woman and everything. So
yeah, let me see if I can find you the other clip.
Yeah, that shows that it is a happy ending, and if you do things with God in the center, normally you do have a good outcome in life. Now, you got people out here in the world today that try to say God doesn't exist, or what God said is the old way and all of that. And I'm not here to tell you and preach what you should or should not believe. But if everybody did a lot of things the way it was supposed to be done according to the word of God, a lot of things would be different. If everybody waited, it wouldn't be a lot of STDs and a lot of other stuff going on, to say the least. So who knows? One thing I tell my son is that the younger you are, the better it is in a way to know a person, because the older you get, you don't know what that person could have been or going through and hiding from you and leaving out. And so the younger you are, the closer you are to actually knowing that person. Now, whether you want to wait or you want to test drive, as Don Ron say, that goes to whatever works for you. I would say I'm not gonna, diss or, even say it's the best way. I think everything is on the individual level. I got the link you just sent me to.
Okay.
I'm gonna play that and then I'm gonna go to the next topic.
Okay.
Where's my camera? I am not.
Hold on. All right.
Cheating on my wife. Why? Number one, I'm not going to have my wife looking dumb. I'm not about to have even one person on this planet be able to look at my wife and be like, dummy. Number two is the reason that I ain't tried cocaine, heroin, shrooms. What about cheating? I like it. What's next? I'm married. The whole situation. What if I have sex with you and I don't like it? Now what? Now I'm starting to create things, make up things, moving crazy because of this one situation. And that's the third reason. I'm not about to blow up my entire life. For you, I'm always thinking in my head, if an opportunity presents itself, what if I accidentally get her pregnant? What if I bring something back to us? What if somebody sees us? Anything could happen. Sex with my wife is amazing. But even after every time we have sex, I'm like, sex is great, but it's not good enough to do this with somebody else and risk my situation. Like, sex ain't that good. And it ain't gonna be that much better with somebody else to risk this.
I'll let the beginning play again.
I am not cheating on my wife. Why? Number one, I'm not going to have my wife looking dumb. I'm not about to have even one person on this planet be able to look at my wife and be like, dummy. Number two is the reason that I ain't tried cocaine, heroin, shrooms. What about cheating? I like it. What's next? I'm married. The whole situation. What if I have sex with you and I don't like it? Now what? Now I'm starting to create things, make up things, moving crazy because of this one situation. And that's the third reason. I'm not about to blow up my entire life. For you, I'm always thinking in my head, if an opportunity presents itself, what if I accidentally get her pregnant? What if I bring something back to us? What if somebody sees us? Anything could happen. Sex with my wife is amazing. But even after every time we have sex, I'm like, sex is great, but it's not good enough to do this with somebody else and risk my situation. Like, sex ain't that good. And it ain't going to be that much better with somebody else to risk this.
All right, I see one thing. He like to do things in threes. He got 3 reasons for every damn thing.
Right. I picked that up too.
Yeah. But on the real, I agree with him. And like, why get with somebody and marry them if you still want to sleep around? Then you didn't have to get and marry that person. Just live your life. You know, why cheat? I don't believe in cheating either, because I don't want to be a liar. I don't like to hide and sneak. I don't believe in hiding and sneaking, lying, and doing all that extra stuff. Like, if you wanted to be with other people, you should have said that from Jump Street. Or if you are married or in a committed relationship and it's not working, then you need to communicate with your partner why it's not working, and maybe it can get better. If it can't, then it's time to move on and be happy and do what you need to do.
Right.
You know, why make one thing bad into 2?
Right.
You know? So I don't believe in that. Like, when I was younger and dating a lot of different ladies, when I decided to be in a committed relationship, I didn't do that. You know, why live with somebody and be with somebody just to still run the streets and do that? It was no point. That was out of my system.
Right.
I don't know why people do that. Some people maybe say, I'm loving you so much, Kelly, but I don't really want to be committed with you, but I don't want you to be with somebody else. So I'm going to be committed with you so you don't get with somebody else, but I still like running the streets too. I think that's a greed situation.
That is greedy.
Yeah. So definitely messed up. But it is interesting how we say that, because with men, like I say, it's really no real bad sex with a woman unless she refuses to do certain things. Then if those are things that you really want or need or like, then it will be bad with you. But it's not really a lot of bad in my view. I don't know what y'all think in the comments, but I think bad with a woman is whatever she don't want to do, or how often she don't want to do something. Whereas
but then
a guy
you could talk that out though too, Jay.
Not always. Some women refuse
around what people don't like to do,
but they may never want to do it. Like, I'm not saying this is for me, but if a dude like to ride the highway, Hershey style, maybe that woman can't be talked into that.
Jay, I'm gonna try and see what Hershey riding the highway is.
You don't know what that means?
No, I don't know what that means. But I mean, you said Hershey, so don't laugh at me, Jay.
So I definitely know you ain't been talked into that. Oh my God, that is hilarious.
We'll save that for Discord.
Yeah. definitely. I'll message you and so you'll see it pop up. But
you could talk about that, Jay. Y'all could talk about non-negotiables. Don't people talk about non-negotiables?
You just saw the message.
Jay.
See what I mean? That might be a non-negotiable for a lot of ladies, and so you know.
I mean, you could talk about that. You could talk about that from jump to say this is a non-negotiable. No matter what you do, I'm not getting down with it. You know what I mean? You don't need to, you know.
Again, I didn't say this was for me, but I do know some people want that. I'm neutral. I'm just the messenger.
Right, and I think that that's something I definitely. But Jay, I think that's as soon as we having sex talk. If that be the case, that's the questions that's come up in the front. Like you don't want to wait till that. You don't want to wait for that.
In the back.
Yeah.
Some guys don't even bring it up. They just do it or try to do it.
No, Jay, these things should be discussed. This is part of my front loading question. Okay. We need to discuss the non-negotiables because I don't want you to waste your time and I ain't trying to waste my time. Because you're gonna talk me into a non-negotiable.
Okay. So you could be talked into it. Let me write that down.
No, you're not gonna talk me into a non-negotiable. Nuh-uh.
Yeah. Hey,
I'm not in my 20s, Jay. No.
Some dudes may want two women, and they may want you to, indulge with another woman.
That's the dub.
And if you refuse, they'll be like, "Man, this sex is whack. It's trash. I can't get on the full roll. I can't have a 2-for-1 special. Trash."
You know, and at that point, Jay, I'm gonna be trash. I'm gonna be trash. I'm gonna be corny. I'm gonna be this, that, or the third. I'm going to be all of it. Okay? No, that's why I don't have a problem discussing these non-negotiables up front. Like we need to know because I don't mind taking the L on that one. I'm gonna be trash to you. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna be trash to you. That's hilarious.
Yep.
Kennedy said some ladies give that to their man during the time. I don't know what he meant by during the time. During
I think during the time, wink, wink.
Oh man. But this all go back to communication, though. Definitely.
Exactly.
Yeah. Although some people do just pop it up in the middle of it, and a lot of ladies don't say nothing. They just go with the flow.
Absolutely not.
They figure you may be one of them. Like, and then you complain. They like, why you complaining? Nobody else do.
Go by to nobody else's then. Right by to no. Matter of fact, let me help you. I'm gonna call one of these nobody else's for you. Go ahead.
You're right.
No good. No.
Wow. All right. Let me see. I got this other video to play.
Okay.
I can't play the whole video because it is a YouTube video. So I don't want to play too much of it.
Okay.
So I'll just play. I ain't gonna really play it. I'll just talk about it and show a clip, whatever. So this go back to communication with me, but it says a woman was told to walk home when she declined to go back to her date's apartment, even gave him gas money. I don't know why she gave him gas. She gave him gas money and was told to walk home when she declined to go back. So, I don't know. She said that she ain't gonna disclose personal info about the man in the recent video for safety reasons, but being able to share the experience and be her was enough. What do you think about if you with a dude and because things don't work, he tell you to get to stepping and go home. Maybe you didn't want to ride the highway toll road with him, and it's time to go.
Ooh.
Would you leave or would you make him take you home? I mean, what would be going on with
I
that?
would leave. I would leave. I wouldn't have any to make him take me home or nothing, because clearly I don't want to get in the car with this person. You're in control. You don't have to take me home. And I don't want it to be, uncomfortable altercation occurring. So I would find my way home like that. At that point, it's over. It's officially over in each and every capacity, Jay. But I'm a talker, right? I don't mind talking out situations. So if we go on a date and you have an agenda, I'm gonna figure that out before.
Right.
Because if I said I'm not going home with you, I ain't going home with you. That's when you got to call the other chick.
Jocelyn said, so who do you think is more aggressive in the sex world today? My friends say men are holding back more. Wow. What do you think about that? And then I'll get into it.
So I've heard some guys say they hold back. I think that women are being more aggressive right now. And I'm a bit confused as to why. I don't know if they want to show that independent side, or maybe because they're competing to attract men or something like that. I think that that's more forward now. Like, I'm doing this and I'm more aggressive because they're trying to compete with the other female. You know what I mean? That's not my style. I'm not into it. I don't subscribe to that behavior. But I think the roles are reversing a little bit.
Okay. Maybe because of the women empowerment stuff going on today. Women are acting more like men, and a lot of men are acting like women nowadays.
That's sad. But a lot of these girls are competing against one another, Jay. They're trying to outdo the next person. And sad to say,
like what men do.
Right, it's sex as a weapon. They're using sex as a weapon. So they being more aggressive now to try and take these other women out. Like maybe you were insecure and not satisfied about your body. You went and got a BBL. So now you doing it up. You know what I mean? You're trying to show off on the next chick. So they being more aggressive. I think that is a dub, an absolute no, Jay. I don't subscribe to it. I don't like it.
I agree. I mean, hey, don't get me wrong. I don't mind an aggressive woman. I actually like that. It's a turn on, but I don't sit back myself. I like to say whatever it is I want to say and come on and say this or that. If a woman come on to me, I won't be upset. Some guys don't like that or something, or they don't like a aggressive woman. I wouldn't care if she came on to me. I actually would like that, but also don't mind if I like you coming on to you and saying things as well. So either way, it doesn't bother me. I think like Damian Kinney he says ladies are more aggressive nowadays. Some of us aren't easy communicators. I think that men and maybe even women who are not easy communicators is because you are a victim of social media and technology today. People don't want to talk. They'd rather text you than call you. I'd rather call you than sitting here typing messages back all night long. I want to hear your voice. I want to hear you laugh when I say stuff. I want to be able to respond immediately to things instead of taking time to talk and type something out. I'd rather talk to you than type to you. I'd rather meet you in person and come up to you and say something than meet you on Facebook or some app and type stuff back and forth to you. Yeah, or swiping. I know that's what a lot of people do, but I always would meet somebody in person. I never did it that way, and I like to meet that person in the flesh first. That would, these pictures, first of all, are fake anyway, because people putting their best foot forward when they take these pictures and stuff. I'd rather meet you in person, however you looking then, and come on to you. I've even talked to women that ain't dressed all up or with makeup on and stuff. You can still see that if they did do that, they would be pretty or more pretty. So I would talk to them then, and they would be like, wow, he came and talked to me when I was like this. He must really like me, you
Right.
know. So, I think communication is the key, and that's the key to life, actually, and everything. Whatever you're doing, whether it's your job, relationship, friendship, communication is the key with your children, all of that. You have
Right.
to communicate. People will text people in the same house instead of talking to them, which is crazy.
Right.
You gotta speak up. That's why we have voices. That's why we are, different. The sound of a woman's voice is a turn on to me. Like, I like hearing a woman's voice,
Right.
and women like hearing your voice.
Right. Like we are accustomed to that intimate connection, and in this time, the texting, like they don't really understand how the importance and the luxury of having that intimate verbal connection with someone, the build up, where that's concerned. It's these, these texts and emojis and whatever, like that's lame. I think so.
Marley B said, Jay, ask her. My sister just went through having her BF TP. I don't know what TP is. Boyfriend, what is TP? Weak. She extended her hand, and after she helped him get on his feet, he went and married this Muslim sister he didn't know, but their religion allow that. And okay, so what did you want? I don't understand what the question was, but I think that's messed up that she was
Right.
there and helped him to get on his feet. But what is the communication issue? It's something that he found in that Muslim sister that he didn't find in her. And
Or maybe, Jay, sorry to cut you, maybe that being that they said their religion allows that, he accepted that opportunity. I agree something was wrong with the communication, but sometimes they just accept that responsibility or allow themselves to be a part of that growing.
yeah, but you can convert to be a Muslim. People, I see Jews actors marry women that are not Jewish, and they convert to be Jewish all the time. So he should have communicated that marrying a Muslim woman was important to me.
Right.
And she could have converted to being a Muslim if that was an option. Now, if that was a non-starter for her, or as Kelly say, that's a dub, then she should have not helped him on the feet and moved on instead of putting that time with somebody like that. Or if you still wanted to help him as a friend, then you decide what limit of help you would go to. You may not, help a person that you aren't in love with as much as you would if you were in that relationship.
Or not, or don't see a future with, to be different if you don't see a future with that person because you know that you're not the chosen one.
Exactly. Like if me and you are in a relationship, I might toss you the keys to the car or give you $500. But if you just around as a friend, you get $20. I'm not giving you $500, and you ain't driving the ride. So
right.
It's a big difference, But it is what it is. Marley B said no, she wasn't ready.
Oh,
okay. So, and I mean, ain't nothing wrong with that, man. I just think that they just had a communication issue, and that she didn't find this out soon enough, and maybe committed to him more than she probably should have before she knew what he was gonna do. You said right, and that's her baby father. He wanted her to sell her house and move. She said no. He was looking for the bag.
Well, see, he was an opportunist, and he was taking advantage of that situation. That's where the whole thing went wrong to begin with. She couldn't, even if she wanted to, even if she loved him or wanted to make an investment to the future, she was being manipulated. So she wasn't going to know how.
yeah, she shouldn't have had a child with this man.
It's
You
sad. Very
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Of course, I'm sure it's a lot more, and you can't really explain it all in a couple
Right.
chat things. But that's part of why I do respect what dude said about waiting for sex, and I do think it could be beneficial because had she said, "I'm not gonna have sex with this brother until we married," maybe
Right.
she would have realized that he wasn't about nothing and left. He would have left probably.
He'd have dusted her off already.
Right. He would have left. Or she would have saw that he was all about the bag, and she could have probably, made a different decision. Whereas when you kind of going with the flow of life and you're not really having a plan or rules to live by, you find yourself in predicaments that you wish you weren't in.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when I was choosing somebody to be with, it was things that I was looking for too. And I didn't want to, and you can still end up in a bad predicament either way, don't get me wrong. It's not like a plan is foolproof, because every plan doesn't work, but you can avoid a lot of things if you are trying to go through life with a plan instead of just going through life haphazardly. Whatever happened today, I don't know. Let's see what happens. And walking around, she got a big booty. She should be mine. Don't know if she's lazy or a thief or don't want to do nothing. And you just wanted some booty. And now this person is in your life for 18, 20 years or longer. You know? And same for a dude. You thought he was cute, or you saw something or whatever. And next thing you know, this dude is just trying to get money from you. Don't want to do anything for his kids or none of that. And I mean, that would be horrible. So nobody want to be used. Damian Kenny said, I appreciate $20. It took me a while to get 10 out of Jay.
I don't know what you mean by that.
I know. What the hell are you talking about? $10, $20. What are you talking about? All right. So, one of the last stories for the night, you talk about communication. Now, this woman, I guess, was open her highway, but it was a little too open. And it says that she had a vibrator, had to get surgically removed from that butakin. It ain't got the X-ray. It's all the way up her damn stomach. You know how women say I can feel it in my stomach. She actually did. She actually did feel it in her stomach.
Goodness.
What do you say about this? And wow. I'm gonna let you go with this one. Just your face alone is already funny.
Jay, why are you gonna let me go first?
Ladies first.
No, Jay. Adam was born before Eve, Jay. Adam was born before Eve. I don't know what to say.
All right. We got Barika come right on time. What's up,
Thank
Barika?
you, Barika?
How you doing?
Hi, Barika.
Kelly is speechless about this TikToker having to get the vibrator surgically removed from her butt. I don't know how they surgically removed it, but how could something like this even happen? I mean, damn.
Was it an accident? Like
I hope it was. I hope she wasn't trying to put it up there.
Barika's the right person to come in at the right time to get us
there. I'm sure it was an accident, but the use of it, not so much.
It had to be an accident. There's no way.
I've seen some strange things. I've seen some very strange things over the last few years.
She needed to tie a string on the end.
Yeah.
That's right, Jay. So
not surprised. Not surprised at all.
Man.
Barika,
So,
but we surprised. This is not a normal story. This is not an average story for the average bear.
right. Samara said, why is it in there like that? How did that happen? How do you, what the hell?
Possibly could have lost her grip on it. I mean, you see it happen in other orifices as well.
Wow.
um,
Oh
where
God.
things end up being lost or retained, as we like to call it. So yeah, I mean, it happens. People have strange activities that they do. So yeah, the human body is a beautiful thing, though. That's for sure.
So what, did she like push it in with her hand and like she couldn't get a good grip, so did she have to take the hand out and couldn't get it out with the hand?
It was all wet.
I mean, it's possible. It's definitely possible that that
Question.
happened.
Slippery
But,
wet.
yeah. It's definitely possible. Or sometimes people put things, in different orifices, and then they may be afraid to extract them out, take them out. So it happens.
I hope it wasn't still turned on.
It
Oh,
was, Jay. In my head, it's still turned on right now.
I wonder if the batteries would have died by then.
I would hope
Possibly.
so. I would hope
But,
so. She better not have no energizer up in that boy.
yeah.
She better have a shit.
I've seen a lot of things get retained, in different orifices. One thing that you usually see that gets retained most often are female, products.
They need to make them a
So
little bigger so they don't go all the way up in there.
no, it's not even the size. It's just often the person who uses it. It's a user issue where they're usually afraid to take it out. So yeah, you'll see those ER visits and people come in because those kind of things end up being what we call retained in there. Sometimes they need a little bit of assistance to remove those. But yeah, have to be careful putting things in orifices.
Sorry.
Could she possibly poop that out or no?
Oh, that's
Could
a good.
have. I mean, with enough force, then it would have loosened up. But it depends on how far she got it in there. I mean, it's only going to go so far, so it's kind of weird. I wonder if it had to do with her being afraid to get it out, or maybe the width of it. But
Said
yeah,
that she was afraid to get it out and it buzzed all night long. She said she
yeah.
didn't go to the she didn't get medical help that night. She tried to sleep with the toy inside, but it continued to buzz all night.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, like I said, you see cases like that all the time where people get things, retained in there. There was a situation a few years ago with a bunch of kids who were using female, products. I don't want to mess with the algorithms, YouTube be funny style sometimes. But
Right.
Female products, and they were absorbing those female products with alcohol.
Yes.
So instead of just drinking the alcohol, they were putting in
Yes,
the
I
areas.
heard about it.
Yeah, so we had a lot of kids who were getting alcohol
faster.
poisoning that way.
Yeah, because if you put stuff there, it absorbs in your bloodstream faster too.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Wow, they put it in there and got drunk and alcohol poisoning.
Yeah. And then some of them got stuck. And then, so understand, even though these are, feminine products, there are males that use those feminine products as well. Yeah.
Woo!
Jay, remember what the doctor says? As long as you continue to call it an entrance, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Jeez.
Yeah,
It's an orifice. Yeah. So
definitely was something else right there. Now, what do you all think about that Chicago man that found that woman chained inside the abandoned house, or as we call the bando? I'll play the little clip and then I'll let y'all talk about this.
Okay.
I ain't gonna play the whole thing, but I'll play some of it.
So I was walking down the street and I hear somebody beating on the window. The man that put the girl inside the house. I called the police. He must have went through the basement. So I'm on 119th to Abstain. And we walking past and hear the lady beating on the window. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. We're finna find out what's going on.
Stay tuned. He should have went up in there right then and there, but he did call the police, and they went in there, and I had to play the part. Let's see if they got it with what the woman say. Hold on. If this got that clip, I got a clip of it on another thing. All right, they don't have a woman part on here, but he eventually called the police. The police went in there and found a woman that she was chained to the wall, and she was upstairs, I believe. Some guy in his 60s or something like that she knew kind of ended up basically taking her to that house against her will, raped her a few times, and had her there for 3 days in that abandoned house. So Barika, you shared that story. I did see it earlier as well. What do you think about that and that guy and what he did to save the girl and call the cops? And she was actually saying she feel blessed because a lot of people for 3 days didn't hear her screaming for help. So she was glad he did. And what do you think about the dude and the girl and all of that situation? Because she did say she tried to fight back, but she couldn't overpower him. What you think about this story?
First and foremost, that guy's a hero. Not all heroes wear capes, but that guy, what he did, man, like salute to him. We need more people like him in the community who are paying attention, who are active, who see what's going on, being quick to go live and film something for clicks and views, call the police and do what needs to be done to protect this woman. There were kids saying that, oh, we've heard screams from that house for the past couple of days. So, okay, but if you heard screams from the house for the past couple of days, like it didn't like register, like, maybe I should call the police or say something, like, because that's not normal. This is a house that's abandoned. From the news reports that were saying the house had been abandoned for like 30 years. So if all of a sudden you hear screams from there, you wouldn't think to check. Like there's no one that's been living in the house for a long time, you know.
That's crazy. They could have used that to do better than just leave it abandoned. But that go with the Chicago culture though of not calling police, which is a bad thing. Because you know, you should call police when you're hearing and involved in stuff, you know, but
yeah, I mean, I can relate to this, you know, just from the home front, you know, having a relative who's a daughter, you know, Alicia Hill, who's been missing since March of 2021, and having, you know, little help with the case and finding her, looking for her, those kind of things where it's really, you know, a family effort at this point. So, you know, there are situations where girls and women, especially Black women, go missing like every day. And then there's people who just don't care. We have not only is the, you know, the no snitching thing, but there's just an apathetic culture that's out now where it's, oh, if it's not affecting me, it's not at my front porch, it's not inside my home, then it doesn't matter. And in this case, you know, we see like this was a grown woman that was missing. She was 36 years old. This is not, you know, some random teenager. This is a grown woman. And this could be anybody. It could be me. It could be somebody's mother, somebody's daughter, somebody's sister. You know, we have to start looking at each other in this community as a Black people, as a community. And when one of us is hurt, all of us are hurt. So it behooves us to get involved. Like if you see something, say something, look, investigate, do something. One thing that I did notice that he did do that was correct after an event that I did attend about 2 weeks ago here in Houston in regards to missing persons. One thing you don't want to do if you do see a situation like that, and there is a home where a person is potentially tied up or whatever, you don't want to go and run in that house because what if it's an active crime scene? You know, we want to make sure we can get these suspects apprehended and then make sure that they go to prison. Because if they're out on the street, anybody else is left to be a victim, so he did the right thing by calling the police and not running inside of there and potentially like contaminating a crime scene. If there needed to be DNA evidence or fingerprints need to be swabbed or collected, the police will be able to go ahead and get it because no one actually went inside that home. So
And
kudos to that guy.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm thinking that the 911 operator would probably have told him to stay right there, that the police were on the way. So that's why he was able to not go inside. But from the
Plus, he
moment,
might have got hurt too.
right, you never knew what was going on. So he did the right thing. But, when you were playing it and then Barika started talking, in my mind, it's just going like, I'm sure other people heard this woman screaming. And they just went about their merry own way. It wouldn't take anything from you just to call 911. You didn't have to go in there. You didn't have to be, the Cape Crusader, just to call 911 when you hear a woman's cry. And to think that you would be immune to that or walk away from that right there, that's tripping me up. It's really tripping me up.
Yeah, I mean, it's really crazy what happened with her. And like you say, it's probably a lot of people that did hear her. She said she'd been doing it for 3 days, banging on the wall and screaming for help and other things. So it is good that he did do the right thing. And I don't see, I guess in life doing the right thing is rare. It shouldn't be, but it is. And in this case, it definitely was rare because a lot of people been walking around that neighborhood and hearing things, and she's heard people, but nobody responded. Like Barika say, kids and other people saying it. And that's why that snitching code is bad for community, because in the end it only hurts yourself. You allow violent people and predators to operate in your backyard.
Right.
Police are having a lot of issues, don't get me wrong, but the snitching stuff applies to criminals, not to law-abiding citizens.
Right, why you can go to the payphone or something where they move payphones, that's when you go and find a payphone and call, so you anonymous if that be the case or whatever the case may be. I don't know, but you can't just hear no woman cry and then go about your merry way. Like you went to sleep. People who heard, they must have went to sleep. Like what?
Yeah, it ain't no payphones anymore in Chicago. I don't know about in New York, but
what was that thing? You got a code star 67 or something like that. Block your friggin' number or something. Something you can't.
And also, you can, when you call the police, you can choose to remain anonymous. You don't have to give all your information. They'll have your phone number, but you could do the star 67 like you said, and tell them
because that's a woman crying. That's a woman crying. That's not normal. We shouldn't treat it like if it's a normal thing, an absent-minded event that occurred, right? We shouldn't address it like that, treat it like that. And if I hear a woman crying, I'm not going to go home and sleep like I never heard nothing. In an abandoned house, mind you. Well, you said it was 30 years it's been abandoned for how many 30 years?
That's
so
crazy.
Something's definitely wrong.
I think that's a crime in itself there. How many houses in the country are abandoned when you got so many homeless people? Like the government should give a subsidy or something to people just so that they can get these houses occupied. And then, why is that person paying taxes or that house sitting empty and all? I mean, we could do better as a country than this.
Yeah, we could.
We got empty homes for decades. Yeah. And people homeless. We need to figure something out. But that's what that NIMBY is all about. They'll say, I agree, but that means not in my backyard. So they'll say, yeah, I agree. We need to do something about that, but don't move them homeless people into my backyard. So
yeah,
I don't know. I know somebody that is upset. They put a shelter across the street from their house, but those people need some type of place to stay. And I'm sure we agree with that, but not across the street from me. And that's the attitude everybody has, which is why nothing could get fixed.
That's right.
I'm not saying that, it's right or wrong. It is a very conflicting issue.
Yeah.
But it got to be somewhere. It's got to be by somebody. It can't just be isolated in the woods.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't be across from the street from the person you're talking about, Jay. Nuh-uh.
Yeah. Like in Detroit, we have 80,000 houses that are blighted. So 80,000 homes.
Right.
Blighted out, abandoned homes. And so this is it's a recipe for disaster when you're talking about kidnapping and abducting missing girls.
Yeah.
Big Ron.
Yeah, Rob.
But I mean, it's a recipe for disaster because you have a perfect storm, so to speak, where most of the year it's cold, or it's a good situation for a person who is a sociopath and you want to go and commit a crime and get away with it. That's really what you're setting people up for. Like, it really needs to be a situation like you said, Jay, even like the guy said in the video, who the hero who was coming to help this lady, like, they need to make it where people are given some type of land grants or something in order for them to be able to occupy these vacant homes. And so that will help to get rid of some of the problems that we're having with all these girls going missing and people being abducted or, brutalized in these places. It's a scary thing, and it's just so close to home because that could be any one of us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. And they kind of don't put the emphasis on finding Black women, like if that was one of those white ladies that always end up missing all over the news and stuff. Like this woman, like they say, was missing for 3 days, a grown woman. Like, that's not normal. But that wasn't even all over the news and stuff. Like, they weren't really looking for her, which is kind of messed up. They don't see the same importance in finding, people of color that they do in finding one of their own. They treat their own better, period, and everything, which is just messed up.
That'd be a cold case forever. That'd be a case forever if it was them. But with us, it's like, nah.
Yeah. Samara Barney is in the comments. That's right. I mean, she's talking about how bad it is in Detroit. It's no lies. Like, every time you look up, I saw another bulletin today of another girl going missing on the west side again.
Yeah, you told me about that.
It's like, okay, how many times are we going to keep seeing this? Like, every girl's not running away. Everybody's not to run away, especially when the case is a grown woman. Like, a grown woman
is not running away.
She don't run away.
Exactly, unless she's being abused, and it's strategic at that point. So so this woman was battered. She was abused. She was tied up in an abandoned house for 3 days. People heard her. Just the same way this guy passed on, and I'm going to use the word Barika used because he was a hero. He is a hero because he took the stance that many other people didn't, right? And so 3 days, and you're hearing her, because if she had the energy to scream on day 3, because she didn't get no food, she's not getting no water. So if she had the energy to scream on day 3, that means she was hollering at day 1. And nobody paid that any mind.
Yeah, that's messed up. And going back to what Barika said, you told me about how bad it is with women getting kidnapped and stuff in Detroit, which I didn't know about how bad that was, but that's really bad. I've been to Detroit a few times, and it did look like a war zone on some blocks. It'd be 2 or 3 houses that's occupied, a lot of vacant houses in between, and plenty of bandos, as we call them in Chicago, or abandoned houses. And I know people buying houses for under $1,000, in Detroit, but they got a lot of work to do to get them back into,
Mm-hmm.
you know, livable condition. But it's better to do that and have residents there than leaving them abandoned and opportunities to be used to do stuff to people, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, so definitely.
If
All right,
that house was abandoned, it would have limited the opportunities for that guy. You said that guy was in his 60s?
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Right. It would have limited the opportunity for that guy to do that heinous crime.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he definitely was too old for that.
And the
Mhm.
next question is, how many other people has he done this to?
You know,
Right.
it don't happen. It don't happen one time. It's not a one-time offense. When you do that, you
Mm.
break limitations that you have to do heinous, you know, these events,
Right.
Mhm.
actions. So you're gonna get thirsty for this thing again. And
Plus,
he
do
already
what
knows.
Baker.
Mhm.
Right. He already knows he has these abandoned homes that he can do his.
Mhm. Mhm. So
You
that's
know,
that's the next question. Who else's daughter, child, mother,
mother.
sister, friend, cousin has he done this to?
Right.
Because you don't wake up at 60 and become a deviant like that. So
Exactly.
yeah.
That's true. Definitely. All right. This will be the last little story. Shout out to Kelly for sending me this one. She said, woman explains how to marry a high value man and become a housewife. That's her goal. All right. And she got a plan to do it. Let's see.
Okay, Allie, show me your ring. Oh, here. Now, tell me what you do for a living. Oh, I love my husband. And how did you get that awesome job? Well, I became a better human being, and I became feminine and also shocking, submissive. So that was the secret. So, what are your tips to women that want to be a housewife? To embrace it. It's an actual job. You just can't get it in the public or private sector. Like you need a man to hire you for it, but that's okay. Because if you think about it, you submit to your boss who makes you clean stupid shelves at your retail job, right? Like, wouldn't it be better if you were cleaning your own shelves at home? You know what I mean? And your boss wants to sleep with you in a good way. In a good way. And where do you meet these men? Well, I think women should work for the men that they want to pursue. I know that sounds crazy, but it's really easy. So if you think about it, like you want a lawyer, right? So then you should be a paralegal, or if you want a dentist, then you should be a dental hygienist. But these are considered, I guess, high value status professions. But I think that's a really good model that not enough women utilize, because women will bully the woman who is the secretary that marries the doctor. Okay, but who has the last laugh? Like her in her McMansion with her husband who's high and the babies. Like that's who has the last laugh. So.
All right. So, Kelly, what you think about that?
I thought Barika was going first since she came in last.
Well, this is your clip, so I was gonna start with you, but Barika, go ahead.
Yes.
It's the way she worded it kind of annoyed me, but what she said was true. I mean, it's the oldest trick in the book, so to speak. I mean, white women have been doing this forever. Like, seriously, when you see a lot of white women that work in the healthcare field, no shade, but a lot of them are there trying to get a husband. It's not about they really care about the career sometimes. Like, I personally know women like that are like, oh yeah, I went to school because I want to be a doctor.
I
And
remember
it's
you
like, hold on, what?
story before.
So you paying tuition and you went to school for 4 years because you wanted to meet a doctor? Like that was the sentence that was led with. It wasn't like, oh, I had this huge heart and like compassion for community, for people, and like, you know, that kind of thing. And that's my mission, is to take care of people, and hopefully I find a spouse, you know, in the meantime. But it was like, no, I was specifically here to meet a man. Just like you have women that go to college just to meet a man. I mean, that's what it is. So, I mean, she didn't tell any lies. So, I mean, it was true. I just think that sometimes women have to understand, like, choose wisely. There's nothing wrong with submission.
Right.
Nothing wrong with being a wife, even a housewife. Just make sure you choose wisely, because every man isn't worth submitting to. So,
Right. I think
As
that's
long
one
as he
thing.
knows how to lead, he's capable of doing that correctly, then by all means, do you?
Right. One thing about that submission is shout out to Larry. He says she forgot to mention it helps to be fine as hell like her. Larry, you funny. But one thing about submission is it does get bad, kind of connotation with people in the sense that they like, oh, I ain't submitting or this or that. But I think submit is something that naturally happens in a relationship when you care about each other. I'm gonna submit to you because there's certain things you gonna want me to do or not do or be a part of that I don't want to. But because you're my wife, I love you and care about you, it's really like a compromise. You know,
Right.
that's what you do in a relationship to make each other happy. If you want a healthy relationship, it's not a one-way street. Like maybe she submit to his needs and things, but he also buys things that she wants, takes her wherever, watches maybe movies he don't want to watch with her and things of that nature. And that's what you do in a relationship.
It's
So
give and take.
yeah, she couldn't be saying that if all she wanted to do was have him take care of her like a kid. And she wasn't going to do anything. She wasn't going to cook, clean, be affectionate or any of that stuff, but expect him to be buying her stuff and this, that, and the other, or taking her on trips or whatever. That wouldn't work, because
Right.
it's give and take in a relationship and communication. Some men don't want a housewife. They want another person that's intellectual. Not that you aren't an intellectual if you're a housewife, but maybe they want their person to be active like they are. Maybe some guys feel that they don't want that and they want the woman to do what she's talking about as a housewife. Or even if the roles are reversed and the woman is active and the man is, I think each relationship is based off of what works for you all. Communication is the key. And if you all communicate on that and both parties is happy, then it could work, you know. Um,
Mhm.
Kelly,
I
what's
don't.
up?
So when I sent it to you, Jay, I had only heard the first part. That's why I stumbled a little bit and threw it to Barika because I didn't hear the end. Right now, I agree with the beginning of what she was saying. Right, but at the end of the day, a lot of these, according to her words, high value men, if you realize that the person, say if you're the secretary or the paralegal, I wouldn't want a man to take my position as the insubordinate to the house. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't want that for myself. However, I think that submission gets a bad name. I think that submission also is translated a lot, especially these days, as a weakness when it's not. Because
Right.
if you're self-empowered, if you're self-secured, submission is a voluntary action that you give to the person that you love. Because you can't be strong, you can't be two strong, bullheaded people in a relationship that you expect to blossom and grow. And I agree with you, Jay, in the fact that submission comes on both ends because it's a compromise. So I think that being feminine and being submissive to your partner is getting a bad rap these days, when to me it's a very necessary component in a flourishing relationship. I ain't gonna be no paralegal to get no lawyer though, because I don't want him to look at me like, if no, you smaller than me at work and you smaller than me at home. You ain't gonna treat me that way. Nuh-uh.
But what if he don't treat you that way? And that's the only way you could have got close. Because, like we've said before, a lot of relationships come from people working together because you spend more time with that person at work than you probably do anywhere else.
Okay.
I know I met some people at work that I work with. Most of my
Right.
jobs is in management, and what I would do is help them be able to work in management if we was together. I wouldn't want you to be under me all the time. Like helping you elevate is elevating both of us, So I mean, if you're a paralegal, he could encourage you to go to law school maybe and say,
I
hey,
don't
I
think
got
that happens. So here's how the crazy stuff goes in my brain, Jay. Him encouraging you to go to law school at that point changes the demographic, because he's no longer your superior. Now you going to law school is going to make him your equal. He may not want an equal, because if he's looking at it from what the lady in the video said in regards to submission, she's talking about the lesser perspective to the superior perspective. You know what I mean? So in that case, he doesn't want to empower you to be his equal. Just like I think that if you want to meet a man,
he don't. Maybe she don't.
Okay,
is what I'm gonna say. Maybe she don't want to do that. Maybe because if he said that, she couldn't be too submissive because she working just as much as him. So she,
right?
I mean, I don't. She can't be a housewife. She a lawyer, so
If
maybe
she's
that
working,
ain't
right? Because being a housewife is not an easy job, Jay. It's you got to do it whether you up to it or not, whether you like it or not, whether you in the mood or not. You got to get stuff done when you're a housewife. Like, I love to cook. I will cook every day if need be. But you see, if you demanding me to cook, that vibe is gone. I don't want to cook freely no more. If I have to. When I don't have to, I'm giving you new meals every day. Every day is Sunday. Every day is Sunday. Okay, I'm cooking for you like it's Sunday on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever. But if you tell me I have to,
what if I say make that what if I say make that meal, that curry goat that I like? That
you're gonna get the curry goat that you like. But now if I have to, every time I'm realizing I'm being dictated what to make, that's only gonna last for a couple of weeks, and then I'm gonna be like, no, I don't feel like making this today. Before I was making it out of love. Right. Before I was making it out of love. Now I gotta make it out of duty. It's a different ball game. Right. So being a housewife is not an easy job. I'm never gonna downplay it. It's not easy. So if unless you got a staff accommodating her responsibilities, you know what I mean, then it's a whole different ball game. But in all, I just think that being feminine and submissive to the person in your life, I think is getting a bad rep.
Okay, Barika,
because I think it's necessary.
All right. On the side note, Norris Fry said, "What's up to his sister from the D? If you got a relative moving back, where would you suggest? He's 72 years young and blessed to be back with his family. What side of town should he be looking to move to?"
If you're going to be in the city, it's better to be downtown. So research the zip code 48226 and look for those properties downtown. That's where you have the most police presence, at least.
Okay.
So it's different condos, lots and stuff like that downtown, but that's really like your best bet as far as something that's safe. And at least for something that's a condo, you may have those association fees, but you don't have to worry about trying to keep up with the property.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, definitely. And at 72 years young, you ain't trying to be dealing with none of these young knuckleheads in the hood. Definitely. And so, yeah. And then if you downtown, I'm sure you got access to a lot of stuff too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, stuff. So yeah.
You definitely want to be safe.
Right. And I'm sure you don't want to be driving all over the place to get to wherever it is you want to do something. So.
And also check if you're going to buy a property too, just real quick for him. If he's going to buy a property, you coming from out of state, go ahead and make sure you look into the tax abatement that they have as well. That way, if you're going to be buying a property in those historical areas or in downtown, take advantage of that, because that's going to save you a lot of money too.
Okay.
All right. Before we go, Larry said to Kelly, being a paralegal does not make you under him, but what it does is that you don't have a job. It does mean that you don't have a job as demanding as he is. Two people with demanding jobs does not make for a happy marriage. That's why I say she couldn't be a housewife, or they couldn't submit too much if they both at work all day.
Right.
So yeah.
And I didn't mean to demean or put down on her job title. I meant from the status of what that lady in the video was talking about. You know what I mean? If you want to meet this high value man, then you should get a smaller position in whatever industry. So I didn't mean to take away from any paralegal. I just meant that as far as that guy is concerned, or that person on a higher level, they're not looking at you as an equal.
Yeah, those ladies get those jobs so that they can be close to those men.
To
like,
the board.
Right. Where would you meet a doctor? The best place is at a hospital, probably, and being a nurse. A lot of men, you know, sleep with people that there's close proximity to, and they see all the time. Yeah, look at Bill Clinton. If he had a choice, he might not have got a little Lewinsky on the side, but that's what was close. He like, hey, you, come here.
Right. Yeah, but we have to understand too, just because you work with a doctor does not mean you will get chose. So make sure you keep your options open and, you know, be secure about what it is that you want.
The rest of them. That's your job. If that be the case.
Right. But there's other things that you can go to meet doctors too, instead of just working with one too. There's other events that people have too. But yeah, I guess people have to kind of have their eyes and ears open to it. But also, like you said, Jay, I mean, submission is for husbands and for wives. And often people quote the Bible. They love to forget that first two verses that says that you have to, the husbands and wives submit to each other and onto God. People are so quick to forget that because it's convenient. So yeah.
Definitely. So, all right. I appreciate y'all, two lovely ladies, for joining. Good show as always. Definitely appreciate you all. Some good topics. Hopefully everybody watching had a good time, got a little bit of information from ladies' perspective, as well as my little perspective. And, you know, hope everybody had some good points. I don't know. Maybe we may start in the future letting people come up and ask some questions or something one day.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. So we'll see. But so far, so good. I really enjoy these shows and talking with you, Kelly and Barika, and you know, another good time as always. So thank you for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thanks for having us, Jay.
Hey, I'm the lucky one, so I appreciate it. And you know, shout out to the people in Houston that's dealing with that, you know, tragedy. Yeah.
My heart goes out to them. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. That was just horrible.
Horrific, devastating. All of the bad words. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right.
But I do want to give a quick shout out, real quick.
Go ahead. No problem.
So even with this crazy shooting that happened, and I think they said 18 kids now, 3 teachers. I did see on Instagram, I think I sent it to you, Jay, a rapper, humanitarian, a philanthropist, Trader Truth. Just shout out to him because he always comes through. Just period. Like they had to shoot in the Buffalo. He's there on the grounds, helping the people there. He's paying for funerals, all kind of stuff. And so when he saw what happened down here in Houston, he immediately got on Instagram, contacted the Beehive and Beyonce's whole, you know, nonprofit down here, asking like, who needs help? Who needs what? We're paying for funerals. What do y'all need? Hit me up. Any of the family members of these kids. Like, just shout out to him for just always being a stand-up individual and just looking out for the community. We need more people who are leaders in the community. Men who are fathers who take care of kids. He's one of those type of men. Jay, you out here leading the torch. We just appreciate having good, solid Black men out here just showing and setting that type of example for our community. So thank you.
No problem. Definitely. What's his name again?
Trader Truth.
Trader Truth.
Okay.
I'm not too familiar.
Check him out. Me either, but we're gonna check him out.
Yeah. I'm asleep on the rap game lately, so I can't lie on that one. But hey, I appreciate it, and yeah, that is good that he's doing, you know, some good in this world. It's all about legacy. What type of legacy do you want to leave in this life? And what type of mark you want to leave? And a lot of people talk about a lot of other stuff that, you know, somebody that passed away recently, but we could say that that's a conflicted legacy, to say the least.
Right.
You know, so yeah, definitely try to leave a positive legacy in this life, man. Leave a positive impact. So, with that being said, I appreciate you all again for coming through, and everybody watching, have a good night. And I'll see you all on Friday. And the members, I'll see y'all in Discord. And everybody take care. Peace. And I'm out. Deuces.